Late Friday, President Trump signed a memo ordering the end of a policy known as catch and release. Under that policy, undocumented immigrants are released from detention while awaiting a court hearing on their status. In a statement, the White House said in part, quote, "The safety and security of the American people is the president's highest priority, and he will keep his promise to protect our country and to ensure that our laws are respected." Earlier this week, President Trump said he wanted to send up to 4,000 National Guard members to the border to help federal officials fight illegal immigration. Late Friday, we learned Arizona and Texas will deploy some of their National Guard troops. Here's what the commander of the Texas National Guard said Friday.
With the authorization and under the authority of Governor Abbott, this deployment has begun with the movement of equipment and troops today. Within 72 hours, the Texas Military Department will have 250 personnel, along with ground surveillance vehicles, as well as light and medium aviation platforms. This initial phase of deployment will include command and control, coordination cells, and operational planning as requested in support of the federal entities already on the border. Follow-on forces will move to the border once mission requirements and locations are finalized. As early as tomorrow, notifications will go out to soldiers who will be called up as part of the follow-on phase. This notification will allow guardsmen, soldiers, and airmen to notify their families and employers in the preparation to report as early as next week.
Earlier, I spoke with New York Times national immigration reporter Caitlin Dickerson. The administration has recently made a series of moves around immigration, some quietly and some not so quietly. What does that tell us about the agenda?
Well, yes, it's been another dizzying week in immigration policy, and we heard a lot about some changes and others went under the radar, like changes in the way that certain visas are dealt with and court cases are reopened. I think what it tells us overall is that the president is not slowing down in any way on his immigration agenda. This is still a very important issue to him, and just as important as actually changing policy, I think, is him demonstrating to the public in very loud ways and very sort of obvious and brash ways that this is an important issue to him, and I think it's going to sort of become even more talked about until we get to the midterm.
He's tweeting a lot this week about that caravan of migrants. Tell us what he is referring to there and what the situation is.
So migrants of asylum seekers from Central America and Mexico are something that we've seen for years. They're organized by immigration advocates, and the idea is to draw attention to asylum seekers and sort of their plight, the danger of the journey, the length of the journey. Well, they got their wish this week because they got the attention they were looking for, although the president, when he sees a caravan like that, he sees it as sort of people flaunting all the things that are wrong with the immigration system, because when asylum seekers arrive in the United States, very often they're placed in line and they're told, come back to court in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they're released into the country. Well, he doesn't like that. He thinks that's wrong. And so that's why we've heard so much about the caravan this week until eventually it was dismantled in Mexico.
On Thursday, the president focused his roundtable discussion on tax reform on immigration.
Yes.
Here's what he said. We're going to play a little bit of it.
I used the word rape. And yesterday it came out where this journey coming up, women are raped at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They don't want to mention that. So we have to change our laws. And the Democrats, what they're doing is just, it's insanity. Nobody understands what's going on. So we have to have strong borders. We're going to have the wall.
First of all, what is he talking about there exactly?
It's a little confusing. I mean, you saw the president talking this week about reports that on this caravan of migrants that rapes were occurring. Those have largely been debunked. Everybody who was on the caravan, including other reporters, say, we don't know what you're talking about. It's possible that in general he's referring to the danger of the journey to the United States, where absolutely rape, sexual assault, theft, all kinds of crimes are very common.
Absolutely. So where can we expect the administration's immigration policies to go from here?
I think we're going to see further clamping down of any possibility for people to enter the United States, and I think we're also going to see stricter rules on people who are here now. They're going to be held to a higher standard, and there are going to be more people pursued for deportation than ever before.
And now, the conservative magazine, The Weekly Standard, recently ran an article about this anti-immigration feedback loop that seems to begin with the White House and come into an echo chamber. And it's filled with emails that have very inflammatory information, some of it may be accurate, maybe not accurate. What is the purpose of this?
So you see these really sort of audacious headlines coming out of emails from the White House Communications Department, and they're often compared to headlines that you might see on a website like Breitbart or on sort of a far-right Twitter, because they use extreme language, you know, rape and murder and MS-13. But here's the thing, those emails often become the source for stories that then appear on places like Fox News, and as we've seen time and time again, the president, you know, will see something on Fox News and then he'll begin to talk about it, begin to tweet about it, and then, as in the case of this week, you know, introduce a policy and, you know, decide to deploy National Guard troops. So you see where his communications department is introducing ideas that then make it onto television and then make their way into policy. That's the feedback.
And they also rile up the base.
Exactly, right. And so that's kind of what I referred to earlier when I said, you know, just as important as it is for him to actually change policy, it's to remind his base how much he cares about this issue.
Caitlin, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today.
Thank you.